The grand courtroom of Montgomery County was packed with onlookers, attorneys, and journalists, all waiting for what was supposed to be an ordinary hearing. Judge Martha Pritchard, a stern, gray-haired woman with piercing blue eyes, sat at the bench. Towering over the defendant, Jerome Carter, a well-respected black detective from the city's police force. Jerome had been subpoenaed to testify in a case involving a corrupt businessman. But when he walked into the courtroom, it was clear that the judge had already formed an opinion about him, an opinion that had nothing to do with the case. From the moment he took the stand, Judge Pritchard's demeanor was cold, her tone dripping with disdain. "You people," she scoffed, shaking her head, "always thinking you can bend the law however you please." A hush fell over the courtroom. Jerome stiffened but remained composed, knowing that losing his temper would only make things worse. He had dealt with discrimination before, but rarely had it been this blatant, especially from a judge. "I beg your pardon, Your Honor?" he asked, his deep voice steady. "You heard me," she said, tapping her gavel unnecessarily hard against the bench. "I don't know how you even became a detective, but I won't have you lying under oath in my courtroom." Murmurs spread through the audience. The prosecutor, a young man named Ethan Wallace, stood up. "Objection, Your Honor. Detective Carter has an impeccable record. There is no reason to assume he would lie." Judge Pritchard glared at Wallace. "Sit down, counselor, before I hold you in contempt." Jerome exhaled through his nose, suppressing the anger bubbling inside him. But as he studied the judge's face, something clicked. He had seen her before, years ago, in a case involving a white supremacist group. She had let a known member of the group walk free despite overwhelming evidence. "Your Honor," Jerome said carefully, "have I done something to personally offend you?" Judge Pritchard smirked. "Aside from wasting my time by standing here? No. But don't think you can use that race card nonsense in my courtroom. I run things differently here." The murmurs turned into gasps. A woman in the back audibly muttered, "Did she really just say that?" Jerome clenched his fists, then relaxed them. He had come prepared for a legal battle, but not this. However, what Judge Pritchard didn't know was that Jerome wasn't just a witness in this case. He was also working on a separate federal investigation, one that involved her. Jerome turned to Ethan Wallace. "Counselor, do you have the files I sent you?" Wallace, still recovering from shock, blinked before quickly pulling out a thick manila folder. "Why, yes, detective." Jerome faced the judge again. "With all due respect, Your Honor, I believe it is you who may need to answer some questions." Judge Pritchard's expression faltered. "Excuse me?" Jerome turned to the bailiff. "Officer Daniels, could you approach the bench?" Daniels hesitated, but at Jerome's nod he stepped forward. Jerome reached into his own coat pocket and pulled out a badge, the kind only issued to federal investigators. "I am not just a detective, Your Honor," Jerome announced. "I've been working undercover with the FBI's anti-corruption unit for the past 8 months. And you are under investigation for accepting bribes, tampering with evidence, and aiding criminals in exchange for political favors." The courtroom exploded with gasps, reporters scribbling furiously. Judge Pritchard turned red. "This is outrageous. You have no authority to—" "I do," Jerome interrupted, pulling out an official arrest warrant, signed and authorized as of this morning. Pritchard's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Daniel stepped forward, uncertain. "Detective Carter, is this for real?" "Read the warrant," Jerome said. Daniels took it, his eyes widening as he skimmed the document. Slowly, reluctantly, he turned to Judge Pritchard. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step down from the bench." "No!" she shrieked, slamming her gavel. "I am the law here." "Not anymore," Jerome said. 2 more officers entered the courtroom. Judge Martha Pritchard, one of them announced, "You are under arrest. You have the right to remain silent." As they recited her rights, Judge Pritchard fought, yelling profanities, threatening to have everyone fired. But the crowd was no longer on her side. They watched as the woman who had abused her power for years was taken away in handcuffs. Jerome exhaled, finally allowing himself a small smile. Justice had been served. And for once, the courtroom cheered. Welcome to the Story Forge. If you love epic stories, thrilling twists, and unforgettable tales, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a new adventure. More incredible stories are coming your way. Stay tuned.